Hello folks, it's Ferengi on board here again with a video idea that I came up recently. So I've been thinking about what else to present, and I came up with an idea about loneliness. It's one of those topics that many people avoid. Many people don't know why they are lonely in life, and so many people have this situation in life when they are, everything is nice, everything is cool, they're surrounded by folks, and suddenly they're like, hey, but where are my friends? I mean, I thought I had some. I mean, I had like a few friends a few seconds ago, but what did I do wrong? Well, probably you asked them for help and they were not like real friends and most likely they scrammed. Um, or probably it's a phase in life. I mean, people have to understand that in life, people will come and people will go. There will be great people in your life whom you will meet, and there will be, let's say, more mischievous people you will meet. And as this, as this actually happens, it's very interesting to not forget that you are actually a person yourself. You are a human being, but you're more than just a human being. You're more than that, just a simple body and your mind and the ideas that most likely end up to be programming from other people. And it's easy to forget who you are and the greatness that you possess when you are surrounded by people who are not the right fit. Now, also, people who are not the right fit are very good teachers because, as I will keep saying, when you hit success and you pronounce success again and again, you actually can hear suck ass, right? Because success is interesting, it is nice, in many cases it is an illusion, because in the end, failure is the right teacher. I mean, that's where you shine the most, right? The darker the night, the brighter the stars, right? When people are at their lowest, that's when they unleash all the good stuff in them, right? That's when they find out that they can actually withstand more, and they find out their finest hour, and well, they kind of survive. So the reason why most people will be left by others is, spiritually speaking, we are speaking about a mass consciousness increase. People are somewhat waking up. Some of them are beginning, some of them maybe not. But many people actually start realizing that there is more to life than just work. There is more to life than just school and programming and following plain rules that in the end they don't serve anyone. And well, at least not in the populational side. And it is kind of sad to accept this truth, but it is how things go on this planet. And people will simply lose friends because we are born and we grow up in an idea of people pleasing. And when we people please, we also share some of their parasitic entities. If you've been following my channel for a while, I've also made a little video about that as well. And I will keep repeating a quote that came to my mind. People have demons to feed. It's simple. Everyone has demons to feed, and it's all a matter of how long you take till you can actually find out those entities and communicate with them and see what they actually want from you. They will want you to fail, to feel miserable, right? And so many people are like this. And until you find out what those entities want, usually it's some positive manifestation like feeling success in life or no longer feeling rejected. Um, Negativistic people always pull you down because the reason why they do that is they ask for help, but being desperate and having been in pain for so long, they simply don't know other ways of doing this. Now, people's principle is that you weed out what is not good, you reject that what you don't like, right? you reject the weak, right? That's what society teaches you, like be a man, right? Don't cry, don't shed tears, right? Because women are the sovereigns of emotions. But look at most women. They don't know how to control their emotions. And, well, I don't see it as a bad thing because no one actually teaches you how to do that. No one actually teaches you what importance emotions actually have. Through emotions, you actually feel life, and you actually feel alive when you manifest emotions. When you become emotionally numb, you're just opening up to negative ideas, thought forms, even parasites that will crawl up because that's what they want. And they can't secure their own energy, so they will need to feed from someone who can actually secure their own energy. So that's one of the reasons why, for example, you'll feel very tired in life. It's like you're working and you're working and your life ain't improving, and it's like at times you can actually feel like you're working for more than one person. It's like you're only one body, but you feel like, you're putting so much work and things are not going better because you can't do much when you're constantly being drained by numerous sources. That includes your environment, what you feed your mind with, memes, the internet, and all sorts of things. Those things can also draw you down and keep you at a lower vibration because many, many things are actually distractions. And the purpose of distractions is to keep you low. Now, to move forwards in this, many people live and we are born in an idea of people pleasing. We believe that if we please people, we end up being, loved. It's a condition called suffer so that you can love me, okay? And this is called codependency, and it's a bad thing. Um, it's not very good, it's not good at all, because it's most likely an interest, okay? It's like in sadomasochistic relationships in which people are not dependent on the other person, they are dependent on the state that the other person gives, okay? So the brain is highly dependent on dopamine, it's the hormone of pleasure. And in sadomasochistic relationships, people just follow that principle. They are just dependent on dopamine. If they find a person who can deliver it in a better way, right? They find a better slave, they find a better master or mistress, they will simply ditch the previous one because they're not that interested. They might show some attachment to that person, but that's most likely a lie, a mask, to keep that person safe, and they keep living in the fear of losing that person because keeps um, that's something that keeps codependency up. It is a grudge against yourself that you can't handle on your own. You hate yourself for not being able to handle on yourself, and there's this person that gives you a sort of pleasure. But how does this pleasure actually work? Well, in sadomasochistic situations, those people actually have real entities, real parasites they are feeding, and when those entities are feeding off the pain of the two, right? When you inflict pain on others, you also inflict pain on yourself. It's just the entities within you are so many, and so you give them so much power through inflicting pain on others that they actually feel good. So the dopamine that you're getting is actually a result of the feeling good of those entities. And when those entities feel very good, they leave you alone for a period of time because they revel in the food that you're giving them from your own energy. And through this, the fact is that you will feel actually alive, you will feel free because they're suddenly gorging on so much energy. It's so much for them that they actually leave you alone for a while. So you become dependent on this state because life equals emotion. That is why you're not taught how to use your emotions. Because when you are on your deathbed, the only emotion that you will have is regrets. And you will regret the things you haven't done, not the things you have done. You'll probably regret some things you have done and you shouldn't have probably, but that was a conscious choice. You agreed to commit to that thing, irrespective of how much you would agree otherwise. Now, many people end up people pleasing, and people pleasing is not a good thing because you attract all sorts of predators in your life. And women, for example, end up with, let's say, two types of men. They either end up with those narcissistic domineering folks, and they may end up liking that because they're still liked. There's this quote in life like, hate me, love me, but, don't ignore me. It's actually a principle of economics, and, controversy actually sells. And um, the other type of men that such women can end up with are those, like the mature babies, right? Like they are physically mature, but they will still want that, they will still play the baby, right? They still want to be taken care of. No, they all their life they want to be the baby, right? They want to have someone to actually like nurture them and the such. But actually, what it means deep down inside, it's they want to be slavers. Actually, they want to be slavers, right? It's they have a grudge, they have a pain that no one took care of them, so they feel miserable. So the world has to feel miserable in their place, right? It's one of the many numerous narcissistic traits. Um, so women in this case will end up with having an extra child, right? Once they have a child, their husband will also be a child, and that's basically codependency. There are numerous reasons why some people will keep to this, probably karmic debt repayment. Um, but karma is something that most people aren't aware. It's like, okay, everyone has some of it, but there's also positive karma. And if you've suffered enough and you paid your debt, you're actually causing pain on yourself, and you're getting negative karma back because you're not doing the right things. And your emotions are what actually guide you, because when you do something and you feel bad about it, it's actually your common sense telling you that, hey, there has to be another way that you could have done better. And that's a way, like, emotions are a way of being guided, okay? They are a way of, realizing and feeling how other people actually feel, right? And that's why some people are actually very empathetic, but unfortunately society only places an accent on the pathetic part, right? Because when you say empathetic, it's an empathic person, right? But I just made a pun, okay? And people and society actually believe that you are pathetic if you cry, if you understand people, if you want to give people hugs and help them, because the way you rule a herd of sheep is by, separating them, right? Divide and conquer. And people nowadays, unfortunately, are becoming too desensitized. They're using crude memes and, all sorts of ideas that don't serve them and are a very bad distraction. In some ways. Um, what a meme shortly is, I'll probably have a video on this if I don't forget, is a meme is a mind virus. It's something that sticks with you, and its purpose is to repeat itself like a loop, right? And its purpose is to just repeat itself, because in form it is like a virus in computers. It spreads from mind to mind, and its purpose is to just continue spreading, and it will spread and spread and spread like a Trojan horse virus, right? And it infects people's minds, and then it spreads and spreads and spreads. And meme sharing is also a way of people pleasing, because you agree to infect yourself with a meme, which is a virus in the end, and through this you accept that because you also feel alone. You're kind of aware of that, and well, in the end, it's like, what have I done actually? Nope, no one actually wonders that, right? Like, you don't know whom you are inviting with. There are things that I have to speak more about this, and I will speak about this in other videos if, of course, I'm reminded, because I might forget. It's not that I'm a forgetful person, but I think of so many things each day that, it's kind of hard to keep track of all. Now, where did my friends go? Well, first of all, ask yourself one thing, like, were they actually your real friends? Many people prefer having friends online because the online environment avoids, it's a way of avoiding like talking, mouse to mouse, like face to face with people, even if you talk in Skype and such, right? It's okay, but you don't teach yourself people skills. Okay, you will not learn to speak with people that much if you speak one on one with people on the internet and you don't see each other. Okay, there is something within us called mirror neurons, and what these specifically do, they have the purpose of replicating what other people do and behave and believe, and well, basically you replicate um, their physical states and also their gestures, right? So when you want to hook someone, right, when you want to hook that girl, or you want to get in touch with that guy, and you don't know them, you usually replicate their body movements, right? Like if they're sitting on a chair, you'll probably replicate their posture, right? It's a way of showing that you're not intending any harm, right? And you're somewhat accepting them, right? Some people actually invite other people in their intimacy. Like in the zodiac sign, there are the Cancerians who do this, and not only, right? And well, now to to qualify someone as a friend, there are numerous things to actually think about. And one of the questions would be like, so they have this thing, like you have some things in common, but are they really a friend? I mean, let's say you both like football, right? And you play soccer, right, together, or on the internet you have this game that you play in common. It's like, do you feel that that person is actually your friend just by that? I mean, the question is, if someone has some of your common things, right, like some of the things you like, you have those in common, are they actually a friend? I mean, it could be a codependency, as you're going to stick together because you have a common passion, but can they actually help you? Will they actually help you? How do you see that person in a few years? Are they spending their time productively? Are there are they actually doing something productive with their life? Do they have some dreams they are chasing, or are they just some distraction? Like hitting the clubs, and there's it's not a bad thing to have some fun from time to time, but attending parties that don't suit you, you attract all sorts of vibes that you don't need. Drinking and all the such, and also they invite you to do that. I mean, most likely they are more of a distraction rather than someone who would actually help you. Like, can they actually support you financially in case you'd really, really need it? If you lend them money, can you be sure that they actually give it back? Um, One way in which I check people is usually dopamine based. If I learn something from a psychopath, is that people are dopamine dependent, and this dopamine dependency is very, very good to exploit, and it's always exploited. Like pornography, it exploits dopamine because when you release, you create dopamine. It's actually the only reason why the game exists, right? So the brain is like a character, and it's like in this RPG, right? So take life as this. The brain is a character and it wants dopamine. The dopamine is the the hidden treasure, and the brain has created this world, right? And it's just full of all sorts of challenges to which it has adapted, right? It has created societies, it has created constructs, it has created time and all sorts of things to survive. But the only thing it's still after, and life has been on this planet for millions of years, the only thing that it still craves is dopamine, right? And some things that you drink actually come up with dopamine, right? Like Coca-Cola, for example. You just don't like it, right? It gives that sensation that you like it when that fizzy sensation on your throat, which is actually a form of minor damage. But come again, it's a lot of sugar and all sorts of stuff that can actually impact your body in negative ways. However, you like it because it has volatile substances that when you drink them, they are they are volatile, right? So um, they, let's call it, evaporate, and they get in touch with your palatal area of the mouth, right, the upper part of your mouth, and the sensors there re um, take those signals, right? And they get in contact with those volatile substances, and they send that information to the brain. And what that information is it triggers dopamine. So the tricky thing and the perverted thing about Coca-Cola and so many other things, it's all these volatile substances, right? The moment you put them into your mouth, your brain is like ecstatic already, right? So you don't like them because they have a taste like Coca-Cola just tastes like sugar, and that's basically it. And at times it doesn't even taste like sugar. And irrespective of what fragrance they have, what chemicals they put into it to replicate the taste, is just basically that. And you know, the way you can find out how a person is have them manifest that dopamine, right? You can see people in their right shape when they are really happy, because when they are fulfilled in a way, like even narcissists, when they are fulfilled, when they see people failing, right, their masks drop, because it's like a you know it's like a feast to them, right? And the way you do something is the way you do everything. If you see someone that they eat unhealthily, they most likely are not healthy, and in all aspects of their life. And even you will probably say, what if that person is poor? Well, if you're born in poverty, right, it's not your fault. But if you die in poverty, well, that kind of is your fault. Like, what have you done in your life to make sure that you don't die in poverty, right? And at a certain time, you'd have to start wondering, what will I be doing for the future generation, right? At least for the children that you'll have, or the child, if you only choose to have one, right? Like, would you actually give birth to them in in real poverty? Like, even if you are rich, it's not bad to teach your child about poverty and how to live life through that, and how to experience poverty, so that they learn more and more things about them, and they learn about the importance of life, and how people can be asses, because most people actually are asses, but they have developed these masks. So to most people, because they're not empathic enough, they simply cannot see how crude and vile some people are. And another way to actually see how people actually are is when they're drunk. The Latins wouldn't have this quote for nothing, in vino veritas. It actually means in wine lies the truth. And it is very appropriate, it is very true, because when people get drunk, their logical side fails, and their parasitic entities have much more control over them. So you can actually see the misery, and you can actually see the negativity within them, right? You can see how crude and vile they can be, how ignorant they can be, right? And that should be a red flag. And the reason why most people are very lonely is because they just feel that they can't fit in society, right? There is this quote that says, it is no measure of health to align yourself to a sick society, right? Or in our case, actually a profoundly sick society, right? Because most of us, especially the younger generations, we are born to be, right, the extra gear, right? You'll never fit in society. You have to realize that. You have to realize that your purpose on this planet is to show people that they can actually survive on their own. You don't need a pack to survive. I mean, sure, you will still need people, but if you become more positive, you will be drawn towards the more positive people, like-minded people. So instead of chasing people and people pleasing, like, try to improve yourself and see what the areas that suffer in your life are and how you can improve those, and you can become a better and better person. You don't need to have 1,000 friends whom most likely they don't even know anything about you. And also focus more on knowing things beyond the typical things like, what's my favorite color? It's like, dude, I don't care about your favorite color. All I'm interested in people is like their subconscious mind. If you are advanced enough and you can read deep into people and you can see some of their traumas, just but from looking at them, how they sit, how they stand, how they, you know, do their gestures, what their tonality is like, what their voice is like, how they pronounce each word, and especially if they have words that they keep repeating, what's the meaning behind that repetition, and all sorts of such, like parallel threads, right? Um, well, it's easy to actually get to know people. It's easy to read beyond their masks because most people are afraid to present themselves and they will just create something random, right? And it's a fear of commitment also, and it's one of the reasons why society is failing because so many people nowadays are afraid of failure. I'll probably have a video on this as well. Like, the purpose of this channel is to present the deeper cores of people, and most likely not many people will understand my ideas. Like, I'm trying to keep them as plain and simple as possible. I'm still at the beginning, so constructive feedback is always accepted. Now, I kind of want to wrap up this video because I don't want to make very lengthy videos. So you just have to realize that you only need a few friends in life, and you need those people whom, in my case, I think of this. I don't want a friend who like can help me now when I can actually help myself. Like, I'm interested in someone whom I can have a long relationship with and who can actually help me later on in life when I simply may no longer be capable to do things on my own, right? And this is something that you should take into account when you want to get married, because you're interested in someone who will actually stand by you and they can actually support you later on in time when you'll be less capable of supporting yourself. And people nowadays, they just go for some random persons, they get married and they don't know the other person and just live in this codependency as slaves to the parasitic entities that rule them. And just that. You mean, if you want to get married, if you want to have close friends, you have to spend a lot of time with them, right? Even on the internet. And you have to know about them, right? A very good person is a person who actually knows you more than you know yourself, and they are the kind of person that will come up and say, hey, wait a bit, you fucker, you got drunk again, so let's go home. Like, let's go home, okay? They are the kind of people who will come up when you have a trouble in your life. They can see beyond your mirrors, they can see beyond your misery. And a very, very good friend is a person who not only uplifts you, but they can also see your potential instead of the failure that you currently are. Okay, like, we are all failures to a certain degree because society never teaches us how to become great, right? And how to understand our emotions, how to realize that those are actually guides in our life, and there probably are guiding entities beyond those emotions, right? In some people's cases, they can actually hear voices. Some people just are guided by their feelings, right? And feelings are very powerful because based on that vibration, uh, they are actually a confirmation of what is around you. If you feel fear, there's definitely entities feeding on that. The moment you feel fear, there are entities around you that revel on that, because you are transforming the energy, your life energy that you have, you're transforming it into negativity, and these entities will be all around your auric field and they will be feeding on it. When you manifest love, those entities will run away because they are incompatible with the such. It's too much for them. They cannot process it, right? It's not necessarily toxic, but they cannot process it. It does, it starves them. It's the same thing with narcissists, right? You don't love them, you just love yourself. They hate seeing you win, right? They want to see you fail, so you just keep winning, right? Another way to sort people to see if they are good friends is, when you share some of your success stories, are they like interested, or can you actually feel a deep grudge, right? One of the greater hells for a person is to meet someone they know they could have been, right? But they chose not to be, for whatever reasons. Okay, the reasons are irrelevant in this case. But when you see someone who's exactly that you wanted to be, and you could have been, but you chose not to become, that's one of the greater hells that you can experience in this world. Now, Another way to, sort people out and keep them away from you is to stop telling people about your success stories, right? And usually real friends are those who will ask you, how have you been? How are your endeavors progressing, right? And if people don't ask you about this, it's they don't have that much of an interest in you. And if the friends that you have don't support you, right? They don't propel you forwards. They don't remind you how awesome you are. Um, because they feel good in their lives, well, most likely you're living in a cage. I think I've spoken enough about this video. Feel free to comment about it and subscribe if you want more. I will try to post as often as possible. There are days in my life in which I may not post anything. I'm still working on my video game, by the way. I haven't posted anything about that because I'm working on something complex right now and it takes a lot of time, and sometimes I just I just don't get the results that I need, but there's progress. There's progress on it, and I'm working on finishing the chapter at least a bit to make a demo available. I'm interested in making a playable demo available for people to get constructive feedback and to post it for free. And what can I say? Life is awesome, so are you. Also remember, whatever you are doing is the best you can at the right pace for you. And whatever there is, you are loved and appreciated. Even if you feel that no one actually, um, if you feel that no one actually loves you, it's like there are people out there who are afraid to tell you that they love you. And well, I will always love humanity, irrespective of how many bad things it commits. I was born to love humanity, and I will keep loving humanity till the end of my existence. It's one of my purposes, and uplifting humanity is one of my purposes. So, that being said, I also love you. If you cannot love yourself, it's like feel free to, borrow my self-love, and you know, borrow my self-love until you become strong enough to develop your own. And what can I say? Come again. It's life is awesome, and also so are you. Have a new day, and hopefully this year will be a much more fulfilling one. So how about we start working towards it, and weeding out the people that are not our true friends, because the moment you give something up, you make place for something better. Have an awesome day.